Anderson.
Let's see what I got here.
Hey Donna, how are you? This is Kevin.
Hi.
Could you make
Hi,
me a
Kevin.
host so I can push your stream?
Sure.
I got it, Kevin. No worries.
Actually, he's got it. Yeah.
Okay.
It is 58.
Wow.
Woo. Got to warm up a little bit. It's only 10:30.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm glad you got my email.
Yes, thank you. That was very good. It's about time, isn't it?
I think so.
We'll have to discuss that in the next museum class.
I can't wait.
We'll have to explore that new site. See if we can find things. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hi, Donna.
Hi. Hello. Welcome.
As you can see, I tried to do a Zoom background of the Vatican.
Ooh, Ivy, you're on it today. Look at you.
But you know, I couldn't find anything free on Spotify. What's the other one? Pexel. I couldn't really find a good one.
Really?
So I just took a picture. So it's hazy. It's not good. So I'm going to try to find something else later. But I was running out of time. So.
Well, thank you. I like that. Hey, that's what it looks like there.
Hey, listen, I'm also going to have to dash out early because I forgot I had another repair appointment. So if I do, I'll catch you then. Well,
yeah, no problem. It's nice having you in here and seeing you again, Ivy.
Glad to be here.
All right. Let me give a couple more seconds here so people are still coming in. And we've got, let's see. All righty. Well, why don't we get started here? We've got a bit of touring to do. Of course, when I say that, people start coming in. All right. We'll let Mary Ellen get connected, and then we'll get going. So I want to welcome everyone to GetSetUp, seniors teaching seniors about technology. Although today we're talking about museums. So today's class, we're talking about famous art of the Vatican. My name is Donna. I'm your guide today. I was in the IT industry for over 30 years. I enjoy helping people get over their fears of technology. We are GetSetUp. We're seniors teaching seniors about technology. This session is being recorded. If you wish to get a copy of the recording, you can do so by emailing help@getsetup.io. We have some people on the live stream. Hello. Come on, register and come in and join our community, and so we get to know you. We're not being paid to promote anything today, especially not the Vatican. So just to let you know about that. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about some of the most famous artworks in the Vatican. We're going to discuss primarily a lot of the works of Michelangelo and Raphael. They were painting at the same time in the Vatican, and they do have a very storied relationship, the two of them. And we're also going to talk about what famous artwork was stolen and then returned at the Vatican. So there's all types of mystery going on today. First of all, who's ever been to the Vatican?
Oh.
Anyone ever been? Have any stories to tell?
I have.
Yeah.
Sharon has.
Yep. It's a pretty good sized tour.
Yes, it is.
I mean, how many hours? I'm trying to think. How many hours does it take to go through that thing?
Oh my gosh. Well, you have to
Well,
wait in line for 1.5 hours.
It depends on when you go. If you
Yeah,
go in
that's
the
true.
summertime, you're going to wait a long time.
Oh, yeah. And it's, we've got a bird.
Somebody's got a bird.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a pretty long tour. Like I said, if you're in there in the summertime when the tourists are there, you have a long line just to get in. And
Right.
there's a lot of buildings. There's 54 galleries, I think it is. So they walk you through a good portion of it. And of course it ends at the Sistine Chapel. So yeah, it's a beautiful tour though. So today we're going to, touch upon this so people can get a little idea of what it's like. Just to show you some pictures here. When we're talking about the Vatican, this is one of the courtyards. You can see some of the pictures. These are very old buildings here. Now, people remember this stairway, isn't it? Right after you get your ticket, you have to go down the stairs, right? I think, if I remember right. This is the infamous spiral staircase, which is really gorgeous. And this is the Hall of Maps. I think this was one of my favorite hallways because they walk you down a lot of hallways. And this had a bunch of old maps on the walls. They're just beautiful. So it all starts really with this statue. The year was 1506. We had Pope Julius II was the Pope at the time. And I guess he was just driving along the road. Well, I guess he wasn't driving along the road. He must have been on horses or something. And this statue was found in a vineyard, just thrown in the dirt. And it really bothered him that the artwork of Rome was just being discarded and just thrown on the side of the road like that. And he snatched it up, brought it back to the Vatican. And this was the beginning of the Vatican starting to preserve some of the works, the artworks around Rome. And that's what started the Vatican Museum. So this statue is Laocoon. He was a Trojan priest. I think that it's him and his sons. They're being attacked by serpents here. They say this is probably about 200 BC to maybe in the 70s AD. Someone have a question?
Yes, hey Donna, my name is John, and I
Hi.
request you to make me co-host. Because before Ben was the host, and I wasn't able to message you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you for letting me know. So this statue is in the one of the courtyards, and you can see it. It's like I said, this is where it started. This started the tradition of the Vatican safeguarding artwork, and it continued throughout the years. Couple more shots here of what some of the buildings looks like. The collection, the entire collection at the Vatican is about 70,000 works, and only about 20,000 can be shown at a time. This is, of course, the dome of St. Peter's Basilica. And again, it's about 54 galleries altogether. When you go on the tour, there's a lot of long hallways you go down, and all the different galleries are off of the hallways.
Donna,
Mhm.
hi.
Hi, Christine.
How long has it been since you were there?
Probably 10 years, I think was the last time I was there. Maybe 9, something like that. All right. So that's what, and here's a lot of beautiful ceilings, of course, and that's one of my favorites are the ceilings. And it's just gorgeous in the Vatican here. So let's take a little look. One of the first places when you enter the Vatican is the Pinacoteca gallery. It's the picture gallery. It's one of the first rooms when you walk in. And it has a lot of, not just pictures, they'll have tapestries, sculptures. Most of these artworks are from the Middle Ages through the 1800s. You will see Raphael there, Perugino, and Caravaggio, just to name a few. And Da Vinci is also in here. His only piece in the Vatican is in this museum. One thing I got to make sure I have my sound on here. Oh, share sound. There we go. All right. So let's take a look at this gallery. I'm going to show you a little video so you can get a feel for what this gallery is like. All right. So that's what's in the gallery. We're going to go to a couple famous pieces. The first one is Raphael's Transfiguration. It's in room 8. Let me go to the room. You get a link to this website too in the email so you can explore some of the Vatican. All right. So this work, I'm going to bring this up too on the, so you can see what this looks like. So this is called Transfiguration. This was painted by Raphael. It was the last painting before he died. He died only at the age of 37, by the way. He died really young. He was quite a brilliant painter. He had just briefly about Raphael. When he was in Florence, he studied a lot of Da Vinci and Michelangelo because all three of them were in Florence at one time. And he took a little bit of the delicateness of Da Vinci and that raw masculine, muscular strength of Michelangelo and kind of blended it into his paintings and made it his own. So when we look at this painting, this represents the dual nature of Jesus Christ, human and the divine. This picture is one of the stories from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus is on top. He has two prophets, Elijah and Moses. And then at the bottom, you see the apostles. They're accompanying a family whose son appears to be sick, and the parents are looking for some help. And really what you see here are the colors and the composition here. At the top part of this painting, it shows the divine. You have bright colors, very peaceful features. And then at the bottom, it's dark. It represents Earth's life with all the humans. They're carrying on desperately in life. So you have this darkness. And that's the interpretation that they have of this painting. Very famous. You'll see on both sides of the painting, you have the apostles. It's very balanced. One apostle here is pointing up, and then there's another one on the other side pointing up to Christ's direction. They're looking for a cure for the boy. This painting was commissioned at first to be an altarpiece in a church in France. And then the Pope decided to keep it in Rome instead. And later on, it was stolen by Napoleon. How the heck did he do that? He stole it, moved it to France, but it was later returned here to the Vatican. So this is the painting that got stolen. So this is a great work of art that you will see at the Vatican. Again, this is Raphael. So if we go on to another famous piece here, this is Da Vinci. And it is in room 9, if you're ever at the gallery here. I'm going to move over here to get out of this painting. Oh. You can kind of, go through all the slides and take a look at all of these great works of art. So this is Saint Jerome.
Donna,
Uh-huh.
I have a question. You said Raphael died at age 37. Is it known what he died from?
That's a good question. I'm not sure what it was at the time. All I know, he just Yeah, I don't have anything in mind. Does anybody know? I can Google it. I'll put it in the notes at the end.
Okay, thank you.
He had a whole art. He had a like an art school that he ran in Rome. That was very popular. He was a very very active artist. Now this piece of work here is Saint Jerome in the Wilderness. This is Leonardo da Vinci. This is the only painting in the Vatican for da Vinci. Now we look at this painting. It is unfinished. It was taken apart for some reason. It was cut into 5 pieces. After it was at some point after Da Vinci's death. I'm not too sure what happened, why it was cut into pieces, but it was restored. You can kind of see some lines. Like there's one line right here. You can just see a little bit where the restoration happened. So this is a depiction of Saint Jerome. He's at advanced age here. He was kind of lived like a hermit. He lived in this the Syrian desert. He's kneeling down. He's looking up at a crucifix. And he is holding this rock in his right hand, and he's beating himself with this rock. That's what this is depicting here. This is a form of penance that he's doing. He has a lion at his feet. The story goes that he extracted a thorn out of the lion's paw, and then the lion became his companion. So this is the only Da Vinci piece of art in the entire Vatican collection. This is the only one that made it in. Anyone have any questions so far? Check the chat real quick. Oh, okay. Thank you. Someone looked it up. He died from a fever. Thank you. Yeah, kind of young to, to be dying. But, at that age, actually, I think when you're 37, you were considered kind of old back then. When we're talking, back then, they really didn't live that long. So now let's talk about the Raphael rooms. There's 4 rooms that he did. He was commissioned by Pope Julius II to do these rooms. It was to redecorate. He became a new pope and he wanted the Pope's rooms redone. There was, personal rooms and a library. There were 4 different rooms. And this is probably the biggest sequence of frescoes for the Renaissance era that we have, this collection of rooms that Raphael did. He unfortunately died during the painting of the last room, and it was completed by his students. When Pope Julius II died, only 2 of the rooms had been done, but it was continued by Pope Leo X. So he did continue the project. It's kind of interesting because at the time Raphael is painting these rooms, Michelangelo is just down the hall doing the Sistine Chapel's ceiling. So there is a lot of overlap with these artists. Michelangelo, just to give you a little information about him, he lived pretty old. He lived to be 89 years old. He didn't like Leonardo. And then in Rome, especially when they both were working literally down the hall from each other, he didn't like Raphael either. There's about maybe a 8 or 9 year age difference between the 2 of them, but I think he felt threatened by the young Raphael because he was very popular. Raphael was kind of popular in the area. So it's kind of interesting that they're here at the same time at the Vatican. So when we look at the Raphael rooms, let's take a look at these. You can see what these look like. We'll go back out over here to our museums. You can see all the different museums on this website. It's really a pretty good website. We'll go to the Raphael rooms. Now I'm going to play a little video so you get a feel for what these rooms look like. So let's start this video.
Donna,
Yeah.
did I miss, or did you say how long it took to create all that? It's unbelievable.
Oh, that was, I believe it was about, well, see, 4 years was the Sistine Chapel ceiling.
It's okay, Donna.
I think it was about 10.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
Something like that.
The
Yeah,
detail.
It's
And
amazing.
especially for that period of history where they didn't have things to help them.
I know. And his mentor, his teacher, had already put a fresco on a lot of these walls, and he had to scrape that all off and write, go over it. So these are the 4 rooms: the room of Constantine, the room of Heliodorus, the room of Segnatura, and then the room of the fire in the Borgo. So let's do a little virtual tour. We're going to come in here. All right. For some reason, I think this one starts backwards. Let me see which one this is. Yeah, this is the, this will be the room, the fire in the Borgo. And the reason they call it that, this is what the room looks like. Of course, you got to look at the ceiling. Take a little look in here so you can see the ceiling. And they call it the fire in the Borgo. Is there a question?
No, I was just saying this is what I noticed from being also in Versailles. I've never been here, but that's what I noticed from Versailles. There is no space. They covered every inch of every.
Oh, yeah, everything's covered. They don't leave anything. So this room's called the fire in the Borgo because this is one of the themes in the room. This tells the story of a fire that broke out in the neighborhood in front of St. Peter's Basilica, and it was extinguished by Pope Leo IV with his blessing. So it's pretty dramatic. You look at this, you see the woman's throwing her baby over the wall. You've got people jumping over the wall. The Pope is over here off at the distance, blessing people. You can really get a feel for the drama that's going on in this painting. Kind of see everyone trying to put out the fire. That's pretty much the main one. Let's look at the other walls. This is called, let's see if this is, this one's the Battle of Ostia. This is the victory of Pope Leo IV and his armies in 846 against the Saracens. So it shows a little battle picture. You can see the ships off to the distance. And this one right here, this is the crowning of Charlemagne. You can see him being crowned over here in the corner. He was the Emperor of Rome, being crowned by the Pope. So that's what this picture depicts. And these doorways are pretty, when you look at the wood too, in these rooms is pretty spectacular, the carving. And then this one here, this is the justification of Leo III. The Pope is responding to the calamities and claiming victor of Christ. And this one's right over the window. And like Christine said, it's just everything is completely covered. So you can see a little bit more. I'm going to pan out so you can see more of this room. All right, so let's go into the next room. Let's see if this has got, yeah, there we go. We're going backwards here. So this is the room of Signatura. This has one of the most famous frescoes here. This is the School of Athens. You can zoom in on this one. This theme here, this is again, School of Athens. This was actually the first room that was frescoed by Raphael. It was meant to be a library or study. So you're going to see a lot of Greek philosophy type themes in this room because it was supposed to be a library. It was kind of trendy back then when you had a library to put, the great thinkers of the world on the wall. So when we look at this scene here, we're looking at Plato and Aristotle in the center here. Plato's over here, Aristotle on the right. So you're going to have all the idealists on this side of the page, and then all the realists on the right side. And we're going to have Plato pointing up to the sky, and that symbolizes his theory of forms, where he argued that the real world is a spiritual one instead of a physical. And then you have Aristotle. He's pointing more down towards the floor. And with him, knowledge comes from experience, and that you must have concrete, his belief, and he was a realist, so you have to have concrete evidence to support any of your ideas. And they really can't identify. I mean, some people have identified in the photo, but they believe they were different types of philosophers at the time in here. One unique thing is the face of Plato is actually Leonardo da Vinci. So that was his little homage to one of his teachers. You'll see that there. If you look to the far right of this piece, you will see a little self-portrait right here is Raphael, and he's looking out at the viewer, acknowledging whoever's viewing this painting. So you'll see him there. And then we have, when this painting was first done, this is supposed to be Heraclitus, who was a Greek philosopher, a very hermit kind of guy. He believed that change is not just part of life, but it is life itself. One of his famous sayings was that you cannot step into the same river, because the water is always changing and flowing. So he was kind of was a brooder. And the interesting part of this is that this part was not in the original painting, but then they had the grand opening of the Sistine Chapel. And everyone was getting, Michelangelo was getting all these accolades for how beautiful the Sistine Chapel was. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, he painted this in, and this is supposed to be, again, Heraclitus, and this face, though, is that of Michelangelo. So he stuck Michelangelo on the painting. So that's some where we're thinking that maybe Raphael was a little jealous because Michelangelo was getting some attention. Those two were not we're not friends. So it's kind of funny that
They
this
weren't
ended up here.
friends on social media for sure.
No, they would not be, they would not have friended each other. I just think this is I love this painting. It's just so funny that at the last second, he's putting in this, the brooder, putting in Michelangelo's face. Other paintings in here directly opposite of this. Let me find my notes here. On the opposite wall, we'll go to this side. This is called the Disputation of the Most Holy Sacrament, and this corresponds to theology. And it's opposite of the School of Athens that we were just looking at. So they put it on the opposite wall. You can see what this looks like. We'll take a little look. This floor is different. The other floor that we were in, did you notice it was black and white tiles? This is quite a different floor too, with the inlay that they put in here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see the detail. All right, so let's move on to, hopefully I exit correctly. All right, this is the room of Heliodorus. And what we're going to find here, the first one, this is the most dramatic one. This one here, get zoomed in. This is the liberation of St. Peter. So this is the first pope, and it shows the apostles. The pope is here being saved from prison by an angel. There's a lot of contrast between dark and light. Very dramatic scene. And then we have, this one is called, zoom in. This is the encounter of Leo the Great with Attila. They're having a battle here. St. Peter and St. Paul are flying above. They're armed with swords. This was completed after the death of Julius II, this painting. A lot of little statues on the wall in this room too. This one's a little different, the way it's done. All right. Get around the other side of the room here. And then the final room to take a look at. This is the room of Constantine. This one's got some portraits too on the floor. Makes you wonder if that's Raphael. Is that the only portrait? No, there's another one. Because this room, I believe, Raphael had died during this one. So when we come in on this one, there's a lot of battles in this one. There's the life of Constantine. This one's called The Vision of the Cross. Cross up in the sky. Everyone's looking up at the cross. This one here is the Battle of Constantine against Maxentius. Big battle depiction. And then moving over to this wall. Oh, this is the this is the baptism of Constantine. And then this final one, this is the donation of Rome. This is where Constantine kneels before Pope Sylvester, and he's offering him the city of Rome. So if I scroll in here, you will see him right here, kneeling to the Pope. And the ceiling is interesting in this room. Let's take a look at the ceiling. Oh, I gotta turn this around. Don't get dizzy. It's upside down. Let me spin it around here. All right. So what this one stands for, it's kind of interesting. It's I'll leave it at that. The theme is the triumph of Christian religion over pagan idols and practices. So you see the cross standing tall, and the pagan idol is smashed to the floor. That's what you'll find there. So those are the Raphael rooms, just to give you a little bit of, some of the story behind these rooms. Again, the School of Athens we talked about. And I like this. This is this is that when we were looking at the School of Athens in the corner here, Raphael's self-portrait, and this is photobombing 16th century style. All right, let's talk about the Sistine Chapel, which is the last stop when you're on the tour of the Vatican. The final tour, it stops at the Sistine Chapel. So we're going to take a look at that. First, though, I want to show you a video about it. All righty, let's talk about the Sistine Chapel. The ceiling, of course, is when we talk about the Sistine Chapel, where the most famous piece of work is the ceiling. It was painted 1508, 1512, 4 years it took Michelangelo to do it. He was actually called back into Rome to do the ceiling. He had already left Rome at this point. The ceiling, they found a crack in it in 1506. There was a big crack in the ceiling. The ceiling was just these stars, nighttime star type of picture at the ceiling. And they had this huge crack. They repaired it. Of course, in the doing the repair, the painting that was on there wasn't good anymore. So that's why they decided to repaint the ceiling. So when we're looking at this, just to show you a little map here of the themes that you will see when you're looking at the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. This is, of course, the last stop on the tour when you are doing the tour at the Vatican. So when we're looking at the focal point, this is telling you, this is from the Old Testament. This is including the stories of creation, the fall of mankind, with Adam and Eve, and then the 3 stories of Noah. So these are all from the book of Genesis. At the beginning, of course, you're going to have where God divides light from darkness. And then God creates the sun and the planets. God divides the water from the earth. Then God creates Adam. God creates Eve. And then Adam and Eve are tempted, and they're sent from Eden. And then we have Noah and his family. They make a sacrifice after the flood. And then there's the great flood. And then Noah's drunk and disgraced. So there's 345 figures on the ceiling. And to show you a little more detail of what these look like, you can see them a little bit up close. This is, this one would be God divides light from darkness. God creates the sun and the planets.
Donna,
Uh-huh.
when you're in that room, do you know how high, do you know how high the ceiling is? I'm just curious. From the floor looking up, it seems like you need binoculars.
It's not that large of a room, really.
Oh,
When you go in, you're kind of surprised. It's a chapel. A lot of this photography they're doing would be wide angle lens.
yeah, because it's so detailed, and that's why I wonder what you can actually see from the floor looking up.
It's pretty. I mean, it's pretty over. I'm sure other people too can talk about this. It's pretty overwhelming when you walk in there because there's so much going on in the room. You start looking around. It's these massive paintings everywhere. This is God creates Adam. And, before this time, Michelangelo, he liked to paint these very muscular figures. And this was the first time God was actually shown more human-like and very muscular. And after that, people started painting this type of image when they spoke about God. So it kind of took. A lot of people studied Michelangelo. His human form, the way he painted human form and all the different poses is just amazing. And a lot of artists do study that. And this is the creation of Eve. And then this is the downfall. Adam and Eve, they get tempted and they're sent from Eden. Those are the main panels there. And then when we're looking at the outside, you'll see these little tiles on the side of the walls are people that are descendants of Jesus. And then on the corners, you're going to see stories from the Bible. Moses, David slays Goliath over here in one corner. You'll see these different biblical stories being shown here. So let's take a look inside the Vatican here. We're going to go into the virtual tour, into the Sistine Chapel. So you can see what this looks like. If you're when you go to this website later on your own, you'll see these arrows. Just click on them and they'll move you forward. So you can take a look. I'll show you this end of the. Now, when he painted the ceiling, he was worried about how he would paint God. So he actually started on the Noah side. And he worked his way over. So he figured by the time he got to the point where he had to paint God, he would have perfected his painting of the bodies and everything, and it would be perfect. So that's how he painted it. He painted in the reverse of the way you would think he would have painted it. So you can see a little close up here of the panels. This is the Noah side. There's Adam and Eve being expelled from Eden. The great flood right here. Noah drunk. I don't remember that part of the story. Does anyone remember that story?
I don't.
The walls were done by other artists of the time. That there were a lot of artists painting at the Vatican. This side of the Sistine Chapel is Moses. Story of Moses. When you go to the other side along this wall, this is the story of Christ. In case you're in here and you want to take a look closer at these. So we're going to take another look at the ceiling. So you can see some more.
Donna, are the floor tiles?
Yes.
Yes.
all tiles throughout, all this inlaid work.
Everywhere.
Really, they didn't not cover an inch of the place.
Yeah.
I figured they
Right?
had to be
There's not an inch.
they had to be Roman tiles, right?
Yeah. And you do see cracks and that type of stuff. They have to repair.
It's overwhelming and they don't give you near enough time to look at it.
Plus,
Yeah,
they're-
because they want you out of there.
yeah, and I can only imagine because with Versailles, it was just so crowded with people, you couldn't even move. So I don't know if that's what you experienced there.
Well, I went in the spring, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, we were able to hang out a little bit before they were shooing us out. And when a new pope comes in, by the way, they do the ceremony here in the chapel.
I think they all meet there too, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do.
Cardinals
Yeah.
meet there, and then when they decide, isn't the fireplace or whatever where they burn the paper or whatever that makes it go out the chimney?
Oh,
black?
yes, they do it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it comes from here. So this painting behind the altar is called The Last Judgment. Michelangelo was called back 30 years after doing the Sistine Chapel. He is now in his 60s, and he got called back to do this altar piece behind the altar, this painting. This is called The Last Judgment. Oh boy, I don't know. Let's see. There's another 300 and something figures here.
Right.
At least.
It's overwhelming.
It's 25 years. 25 years after finishing the ceiling. So he comes in and he paints this. This is the second coming of Christ and God's final judgment over humankind.
Question.
So what you see, go ahead. Yes.
When I was there in the 70s, if you look at the picture now, you go from the center down to the right, just a couple of people. You see somebody holding a shrunken. Oh, go back. Zoom in again.
In here?
Zoom into the middle again. You see, stop.
Yeah.
That shrunken figure, I understood, correct me if I'm wrong, was Michelangelo's self-portrait again. Is that true?
Yeah. That's Saint Bartholomew, because he was flayed. That's how he died, Saint Bartholomew. And that's his skin.
Wow.
Pleasant thought.
Yep.
Yes, this is supposed to be a self-portrait right here of Michelangelo. That's what they feel. So when you look at this was influenced by Dante's Divine Comedy. So God is making his judgments over mankind. And it kind of works in a circular fashion. You go down. Some people are going to go to hell. So they're going to go to the right-hand corner here. They're going to get into the boat and they're going to be thrown off the boat to hell.
I see.
And then you've got the angels here are blowing their trumpets to wake up the people that are risen. So you see people, different bodies coming to life, rising up. They're grabbing the angels are helping them grab their bodies. And then they rise up to heaven. So that's kind of what's happening here. The Virgin is
imagination, didn't he?
Yeah. It makes you wonder, right? What to the left of him is the Virgin. Now, after he died, as time moved on, a little bit of a conservatism happened in the church, and they felt that this was too raunchy, too much nudity. So they had a painter come in and paint clothes on everyone.
Oh, really? Oh, gosh.
Yes, they did. They painted clothes on all the figures to clean it up. But then later on, they took the clothes off. They put it back. They restored it back to its original original thing. I thought that was kind of interesting that they did that. And so that's the Last Judgment. Again, he was in his 60s. Just to give you a little history on these guys, Michelangelo died at the age of 89. He died in 1564. And we did speak of Raphael. He died in 1520 at the age of 37. He was young. Leonardo da Vinci, he died in 1519 at the age of 67. He was older. He had about 30 years on Michelangelo. So they were the kids, Michelangelo and Raphael. In fact, Da Vinci didn't come when Raphael and Michelangelo came to work on they had a lot of painting jobs to do at the Vatican. Da Vinci didn't come. He was too old at that point. He stayed in Florence. He was fine where he was. So that is, we're at the end of our class here, our tour. Anyone have any questions?
No, but as usual, you did a great job.
Oh, thank you. I hope this was enjoyable for people.
Oh my goodness, I've never been there. I haven't been to Italy. So this was like especially to have people who've been there to share and
definitely
just give us a glimpse. So Donna, I'm grateful you're such a wonderful tour guide.
Oh, thank you. So we come to our museum class. We do virtual visits to museums. By the way, the Louvre just put all their collection online finally. They probably have heard me yapping about it for the past year. So, so we're going to explore their new website and see what we can find. So that will be coming up. I do virtual tours San Francisco. I do a great Arctic adventure. And of course, this class, the famous art of the Vatican if you're interested in virtual type tours.
And Donna, don't forget your San Francisco Victorians. That's one of my
yeah, that's not on this slide.
I love your Victorians. Oh my goodness.
That's true. I need to put that on this slide. We do Painted Ladies. We do the history of the Victorians in San Francisco from the Gold Rush years. So yeah, come to that class if you see it on the schedule. You'll be getting notes. I'll be giving you links of the sites that we visit today. So you can go ahead and, poke around at the Vatican, see all the pictures and the videos, take a look at all that stuff. And again, thank you for supporting our community. If you'd like to host your own interest group, just let us know. We'll set you up with a guide and we'll give you your own little social hour and you can share whatever your interests are with our community here. And always, if you have a class you're interested in, go ahead and suggest it in your feedback. People will read that and they will put that on the list for new ideas. And we have a fairly new website now. And if you'd like to learn more about the features of it, go to Marv's class, Tips and Tricks to Navigating GetSetUp's New Look, so you can see what you can do on the website. So I want to thank everyone for coming today and for supporting us at GetSetUp. And any other final thoughts anyone has?
I have one question before we go.
Yeah, Wanda, go ahead.
How often are the walls touched up? Just due to age, to keep them crisp and looking beautiful?
That's a good question. I'd have to Google that one.
Okay.
I would imagine they have to. I mean, there is wear and tear, and if you don't stay on it, it's going to just fall right off. So I would imagine I would bet they have very special people that check and see like when it's time to maybe, because they have to keep track of all of these, paintings. They're so old and, you've got to watch it because if you don't catch it in time, it could be the end of that painting. So I would imagine, they've got.
You can imagine in Rome at the universities and the amount of architectural or, preserving things. That's got to be a huge career for people in Italy. And that, with all the antiquities that they have, that's got to be huge. And even with COVID, people could go in because they're empty and make sure. That would be interesting to find out how often they can go.
In fact, I'm going to include a link in the email. This is a link that I usually do in my museum class, but there is a website of these. There was a 14-year project to preserve 70 works from Florence that were done by women. And the project, so I'm going to put the link in there and I encourage you to take a look at that because the project is ending in June. Hopefully they leave the site up because they got some very interesting articles about like some of the famous women artists that we always hear about the guys, but there are some women artists from the Renaissance and the Baroque period and that type of thing that you should know their names, who they are. So there's some, go explore their website. They have some links to some articles that you might enjoy checking out. So I'm going to put that link in the email too. You will see that.
Donna, I have a great idea for your next one.
Yes, that'd be a great class.
Where are we going, Christine?
Women artists around the world.
There we go.
Haven't heard of.
I know, exactly. We should do that.
Be a fun one for you?
That would be a good one.
I was so excited when I saw this in the schedule today. I was so thrilled because I enjoy every single tour. Thank you.
All right. Thank you too. All right, everyone.
Thanks, Donna.
Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Donna.
Yeah, you got a question?
Sorry. Can you tell when your next brain games?
Oh, brain games. Let me look on the schedule real quick for you.
I think it's Thursday.
Really
Is it Thursday?
I think it's Thursday. I was just going through the schedule.
I'll take a quick look here. Liz, you're thinking it's Thursday, Christine?
I thought that's what I just saw.
Let me see. Thursday. That might sound about right.
Maybe around 2 for Pacific time.
I should just type in brain. Oh, let's see. Playing brain games. Yep, 2 p.m. April 1st.
Thank you.
And that's not a fool.
That's not a fool. That's not a fool. All right, you guys. Have a good day, everyone. Take care.
Thanks. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, Christine?
You said congratulations on your promotion. And
thank you.
So are you going to be working 40 hours or how much are you going to be working?
Oh, I'll ping you in the
Okay,
I'll
do that. Okay. Thank you so much. This was delightful. I look forward to the Women Around the World paintings.
You know, that is a good idea. I kind of like it.
Well, I love that you brought it up because we
maybe you should do that one, Christine.
Oh no, I'm not the art person you are.
I was a music major.
Well,
all right, guys.
Look at okay, thanks.